things they did in our polygamous cult. Married men going behind their wives' backs to try to get another wife, usually a teenage girl. Do you have anything to add to that?
Specifically, Paul the leader's brother was telling his kids that it's none of their wives' business who they are going forward on. And this floored me because they're all about, the 10 Commandments, and the 10 Commandments says thou shalt not commit adultery. What about going behind your wife's back to go forward on other women is not adultery?
I feel like they will do anything besides sleep with somebody and think that it's okay. And I remember they would sit there and be like, where else is your husband going to be faithful and loyal to you and never cheat on you and never lie to you and blah, 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 blah. Like, because if he's married to the other two, it's not cheating, right? But they're constantly doing stuff behind their backs. For example, I told you guys that after my grandma's husband died, she married her husband's son, basically, right? So he was over my family. And there was a time where he told my uncle to go behind his wife's back and talk to another girl and try to get her to marry him. And it was actually Amanda's half sister. And it was, I remember I got yelled at.
My sister was 17 at the time.
So I got yelled at by my grandma because my aunt, the girl that had married my uncle, she asked me to see what he was doing after church one time because he was like disappearing, and she had all of these kids. She has like 11 kids now, but she had all of these kids that she had to wrangle together, and he would just disappear. So
with my sister.
Right. So she was like, can you see like who he talks to or what he's doing? And I'm like, yeah, for sure. So I let her know, and my grandma yelled at me. She's like, you need to figure out where your loyalties lie. You only met her through him, like your loyalties, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, if he's doing something wrong, because we are taught like in our teachings, that's wrong. I don't care. Like you guys can believe in polygamy or whatever, but you guys literally teach us that that's wrong. And I'm going to be on her side because he's not doing things correctly or whatever.
That's what the hypocrisy is, right? Because they teach us as women too to like, you have to be loyal and faithful to your husband. They teach us as women that X, Y, and Z cannot be done. And especially like before marriage, there's all these things that they teach us, like you can't kiss before your wedding day, you can't hold hands until you're engaged, all these rules. But then you come to find out that a lot of people are actually, after they're married, all these rules are changing. It's super weird how they would teach us this is how to be a good, faithful, loyal follower. And then when you actually dive into when the men are being held to those standards, it's different.
Usually Paul's sons would do whatever they wanted, and you would find out later, but none of it ever came out. If somebody said something against one of Paul's sons, he's like, let's just keep this under wraps, okay?
Take it a step further. Someone says something bad about Paul's sons. Now they're the bad guy.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden they're getting slandered.
Right,
even
exactly.
though, or rumors are being said that this person's doing it and the stuff that they were doing.
Right. Also, I remember the same dude, my step grandpa or whatever.
The guy that married your grandma?
Yeah. It is very confusing. But he told his own granddaughter's husband to go behind her back and talk to her half sister. So I remember we were on a girls' trip.
How was she not gonna find out that's her sister?
'Cause the sister was like a snake. Yeah.